Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pulse podcast. I'm your host, Amrita, and if this is your first time listening, The Pulse is a medical student led podcast where we talk about medicine, leadership, advocacy, and journeys that bring us there. Today's episode is unique because we're focusing on student voices and what it looks like to balance academics, leadership, and purpose, all while still being in high school. I'm joined today by Areeba Aalam, a senior at West Bloomfield High School in Michigan. She's an AP honors student, co founder of an environmental nonprofit, and someone who's been very intentional about using her voice to create change. Areeba, welcome to the Pulse podcast. I'm very excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start off super simple and let's get to know you. So, if someone walks up to you and meets you for the very first time and didn't know anything about you or your resume, who is Areeba? How would you describe yourself?
So, I am a 17-year-old girl who was born in Pakistan. I moved here when I was younger. So, growing up, I have faced a lot of challenges from just being a person of color, and the interests that I have. They are kind of seen as like male interests. So, being a girl in those kinds of fields kind of taught me that it's important to keep your voice out there and not listen to the people that kind of tell you that you can't do something, because you can, and it's important to just believe in yourself. I'm also a sister to a 4-year-old brother, and I'm a senior at West Bloomfield High School that's graduating in May. I'm not sure what college I'm going to yet, but I will hopefully get that soon.
That's really nice to hear. It's also very nice that you talk about being first generation immigrant. I'm also in that path. I did come to the United States in 2012. And you are, like you were saying, you were in a very like male dominated field, so and adult dominated field. So you're involved in a lot of school, nonprofits especially, and a lot of social media. Has this always been you, or did you grow into yourself over time?
Definitely always been me, but I've been kind of scared to show that to people because I was afraid of getting bullied, or people would not want to be friends with me because of it. Definitely since high school, I've learned to kind of it doesn't really matter what people say about you. Because there are people out there that do appreciate your work, not necessarily around you physically, but there are people in the world that will want to share their word with you.
So, because of this, you have grown on social media and your journey is extremely public. I love that you share your journey publicly. There's a lot of people that tend to fear being public with one another. So, what made you put yourself outside instead of keeping everything private?
Well, actually, it was my mom's idea, and in the beginning, I was like, no, I don't really want to do that because people will make fun of me, and I'll look weird for always recording everything and posting this cringe content. But I started to vlog things on my personal account, and it got a lot of attention. So I had the idea of making my own separate account where I could get that certain audience where people actually want to see that kind of stuff. And I have gotten audience from not only people that are appreciating the work, but also people who are looking for help and asking questions about what they can do, and just that kind of stuff, like networking. So that's been nice.
So, when we talk about networking, we're talking about meeting people that are out of, not certainly out of our reach, but that excel compared to our own standards to gain connections with them. Let's talk about people that are on our standards, like your friends, your school, the people you surround with. Have they been supportive of what you do? Because I know a lot of young women and young men, they're very scared to put themselves out there, mainly because they don't want to disturb the equilibrium of their own life and get judged from other people that they're already close to. So, how did you feel when you first started?
It's been 2, 3 years, and they're like, oh, I want to be on your page, put me on there too. And they like to do trends with me. So, I mean, definitely in the beginning, but I still had some friends that supported me. But now it's definitely grown a lot, and I'm super thankful for that.
I know there's a lot of listeners and that are students. I want to know how you always so proactive and what motivates you.
Um, I think the biggest motivation is purpose. A lot of people at my school struggle with that. They're kind of like the saying, C's get degrees. Yeah, they do, but at the same time, they're not really looked high upon. Because when you think of a high achieving student, you think straight A's, in sports, doing extracurriculars, volunteering, all that kind of stuff, which is good, but it's also important to realize that everything is not just school. School is not hard, people make it hard. It's important to have the mindset that you can do something because then you will do good in it. So it's important to realize that like all in the head, like you
Mhm.
have to discipline yourself and train yourself to be that person.
So, based on what you just said, you focus a lot on discipline and you're an AP and honor student. So, how would a normal school week or school day look like? And how do you stay on top of everything?
So usually I like to wake up around like 5:30 or 6, just to like if I have a test or homework, like I'll study a little bit at that time, which is hard for me because I'm not a morning person. So I'm like almost always on energy drinks, which is bad, but that's just kind of where I am with I have 6 APs, so it's a lot. And so I my school starts at 7:30, so I go to school and we have a block schedule, so not every single class every day. And even when I'm in class, like because I have so many classes that are advanced, I'm not always doing one subject in one class. I'm usually working on multiple things, which I don't really recommend because if it's a subject that you are struggling with, it's important to give it your full attention. Even though it might feel like you're not being productive, it really helps with the understanding part of it. But during lunch, I'm usually working, watching a lecture. When I come after school, I usually either I have physical therapy or I'll volunteer somewhere. Or if I don't have either of those things, I'll come home and I'll take a break for like an hour or so, and then I'll do some homework and stuff. If it's a week where I have more academic stress and that kind of stuff, I usually spend the day at the library after school where I basically kind of live there. It's like my second home. I'm there till like 8 p.m., 7 p.m. And then I come home, eat dinner, and at by the time it's like 10 p.m., I try to like slow down and kind of like relax a bit because I know that I have to wake up early in the morning anyways. I try to make sure that it's important to give myself those breaks in between, not just constantly sitting there for hours and hours just working. Like maybe study for 30 minutes to an hour and then giving myself a 20-minute break, but also in that 20-minute break making sure that I'm like drinking water, not really scrolling on social media that much, but if I am, most of my feed is like academics, extracurriculars, like it's like geared to my interests and my lifestyle. So I think that's also another important thing, like that's what fuels your motivation as well. Burnout is real and like the lack of motivation is real, but it's important to just keep reminding yourself that like one day you want to become a person, so you have to do whatever it takes to become that person because it's important that it's worse to feel regret that you didn't try.
So, whenever you're talking about motivation, and we also touched a little bit on discipline, what is your take? Do you think motivation is a higher degree, or does discipline fuel you through your daily choices that you make?
I think discipline is definitely more important. Like it's more of an important skill to have. Motivation feels better, obviously, because when you're motivated to do something, you're gonna do it, and it's harder when you're not motivated. But at the end of the day, discipline is what's going to get you there. Consistency, like showing up every day. You don't always have to give your 100%, but if you show up, you'll end up doing something. Like if you don't feel like studying, you just tell yourself like, "Oh, I'm just going to read this for 5 minutes and then after that I'll be done." Or but you realize by the time you finish with those 5 minutes of reading, like you're like in the flow state and you just keep going.
Mhm.
So it's like you don't always have to tell yourself like, "Oh, like I have to study this much." Just say like, "I'll start with this much," and then you just keep going gradually.
So, when we're talking about science, it's not only medicine related, it's also environmental, like your nonprofit. So, you're also the co-founder of this nonprofit and team, like called Team. And first of all, that's amazing. And how did you start it? Like, what was the idea behind it?
Thank you. So last in 2024, actually, I reached out to my friend Jordan, and I was like, we should start this organization because at the time global warming was kind of like starting up, like it started to become a lot more present in the news and stuff. So I reached out to her, and she's very passionate about the environment. She's actually going to college for environmental studies or something like that. Um, so I reached out to her and I was like, we should do this. And we kind of got like we had like at the beginning, we literally had like 4 or 5 people. It was just kind of like the board. Now we have more than 200 people in different countries. And so it's like in the beginning, even my parents were kind of like, I don't know if this will work out, like that kind of stuff. But I think it's important that you just once you have an idea, like you can work on it, and no matter like what somebody tells you, if you're passionate about something, it'll work out.
So, based on your car crash, which you shared publicly, not to focus on the event of the crash itself, but how it helped shape your leadership and advocacy, especially, you and your father, you guys were involved in a car crash near your school, which led you to advocate for better traffic safety without going into detail. So, how did you experience change the way like this everyday system surrounds us by?
So I did create a petition to add slow speed signs by that area because it's a school zone and there isn't any signs of that sort. So I did. There has, I think, around 200 signatures on that. So far, I have received donations for that petition as well. So there is definitely a lot of support, and as well as from my schools and school staff and peers at my school. They also support the idea really like a lot. It's just it's taught me that no matter what you go through, like as long as you have a strong support system and have those people, like you can get your voice out there to advocate so that people don't go through the same thing that you went through. That was kind of like my main thing. It wasn't like to get attention or to make it like a big deal. Like I genuinely, because it changed my life a lot. So I know that if somebody else who might not have as strong as a mindset, it would like break them. So like I know that I want to be able to advocate for the people who might not be able to.
So thank you for sharing that. I know it could have been really hard because it's not a light issue to take in place, and I feel like it really highlights how you like prevention and advocacy go hand in hand together, and how not one thing that happened to you can apply to so many other people, and it will help a lot more people if we take our own issues and turn it into a strength, as how you did. So now we were focused on the past. Let's move on to the future. So you've mentioned obviously a lot that you want to pursue medicine, and you said that interest came from ever since you were young. What field of medicine do you want to pursue?
So I am thinking about anesthesiology, um, just because I wanted to be a doctor, but being a doctor, there is really it's like you're don't really have time for family and all that stuff because you could be on call. And then I also thought about psychology, but with psychology, I've heard from people that like the things that your patients tell you, like it can affect you as well. And as someone who struggles with mental health and that kind of stuff, like I don't think that it would be a good match for me. So anesthesiology, like you go to school for 12, 13 years, so it's a bit of school. You can, I mean, you're still with patients, you're still seeing the procedures being done, which is a big thing that I wanted to be like hands on and like see that kind of behind the scenes procedure things. So being in anesthesiology, I would get to see that. I also thought about dentistry, but I did work at a dentist office, but it just wasn't really my kind of vibe. So that's why I chose anesthesiology.
So when you're talking about, you obviously have a very exponentially growing social media platform. So coming to social media and impact, you use social media to share your journey with other people, and that's definitely not easy. So what responsibility do you think comes with having a platform?
I think it's important to not kind of just like romanticize everything. It's important to show that it is hard and like it's not easy to be consistent every single day. because that's what on social media sometimes people make it look like the hardest things are so easy, and then when somebody tries it they feel discouraged and then they're not motivated to do what they want to do. So it's important to kind of show that like even though you might be doing good in so many things, but there are still so many things that you are struggling with and that you can improve on, and that not everybody's perfect. Nobody can ever be perfect. So it's just important to kind of make that like kind of like the base of your whole platform, so
Mhm.
that people don't, because your platform is not there to make people feel bad about themselves. It's there to kind of motivate them, ask for help when they need help. So it's important to show your like human side, not just like robot machine kind of like working all the time.
So like saying not like robot machine, we focus a lot on school and medicine and all of that, which is very, very hard to again keep true to yourself and have your own separate hobbies. What is a very niche hobby that you like to do in your free time?
I like singing. I used to play the piano and I'm trying to get back into that. I also did like Bollywood and Bhangra dancing for a little bit, and kind of just like hanging out with my friends and my family. That's kind of like the one thing that I don't really put on social media because that's what I kind of like to keep to myself. Like if I do put it on social media, it's more on my personal account. So like that kind of stuff. I think it's important that like the things that you make you feel good, that kind of stuff, to not really share it with everybody because then it's not really your thing, it's kind of everybody's thing. So it kind of loses its value once you share it with everybody. So it's important to just like know what you like and just like keep it to yourself so that it doesn't, you don't change it for the wrong kind of like.
Reasons and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So before we wrap up, we did talk a lot about like what got you to these moments and conversations. The reason the Pulse podcast exists is so we could talk to each other and have like a general conversation about what would help us better in life and in medicine. So do you have any questions for me that you would like to ask?
One question that I have for you is that what motivated you to start this, and like what do you hope to gain from this organization?
So this organization actually started off as a nonprofit, and then I changed it back into a campaign organization because for me, at least in my local area, there's a lot of nonprofits, so it's very difficult to get outreach as a nonprofit, at least in my area. And ever since I turned it into a campaign organization to help students actually gain more like advocacy, leadership material, and also like their own personal gain, it's helped us expand nationally. So I feel like that's one of the main reasons like I want to do this. The main thing that motivates me is just like wanting to help other people, which is like one of the big reasons I want to go into medicine. And also I love connecting with people that are similar of age, student material, mindset, just like you. That's why like I reached out to you. I really wanted to see how it would be to interview someone of similar mindset. So
That's
yeah.
actually really nice.
So, Ariba, your journey is a reminder that you don't like have to wait until everything is figured out, but you have to make impact and leadership. It's not about titles, but it's about showing up for everyone around you. So, staying curious and using your voice with purpose. So, to everyone listening, especially students, one of the biggest things is that you're not behind, and growth is very linear like we saw in your journey, and your process is allowed you're allowed to learn as you continue through your process, and start with where you are and build with intention and trust the process, like your mom first pushed you out to go ahead into social media. To close off, one more question. It's very similar to the question you asked me, but what is your pulse? So like what is something that like motivates you every single day that will never stop motivating you?
I think the biggest motivation is just like the vision that I have of myself like 10 years from now, like the person that I'm going to become. Like I know that I have to do everything I can now to become that person. It's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I just kind of see that vision and it's like all picture perfect and everything. So I know that like hard work will pay off. So that's like the biggest thing for me.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. And to our listeners, please let me know what other type of people you would want to see on the podcast. Because last time we did have a biomedical ambassador come on and talk to everyone, and put in the comments down below who you would want to see next, like a med student, a physician, a college admissions officer. And I will also be putting a poll on the Instagram. I'm Amrita. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep your finger on the pulse.